the way, that 84, that's the app to download for sure. I looked through it. I've been using it in a bunch of different classes. It is by far the best, and I suggest that you do it. If you don't have a graphic calculator, download that app. I'm going to give you some rulers so you can draw some straight lines. Only really need to use that for the line of symmetry once the function itself is lined up. You are welcome. You are welcome. No problem. And I'm happy to like work through like another one with you if you want to see it. Like, I don't know, what are we up to at this point? We did 1, we did 2, right? Did we do 3? We did with the cubic, right? We did 3 and 4.
Yeah.
We just haven't done 5 and 6. So let's just do those 2 real quick. Knock them out, and then you should be able to kind of do the rest on your own, which is nice. Just because it's been a little while, let's do it again. Yeah, if you don't have that app, download it right now. Seriously, it's going to save you so much time to do the tables, to see the pictures, and make sure it all looks good. Yeah, let's do 5 and 6 at least, and see if we can get to 8. And then we're done. I'm going to leave the explanation up for what we'll do. I'll leave this up here for how to do it once we get there. Let's put on the oh, this one's linear. So that's actually a nice one to start off with. There's no squares or square roots or anything. It's just 1/3 x something. -2. Sweet. So jump into that graphing calculator. I'm going to do it from here. You don't have to watch me do it. I'll share it with people at home so you can see it. But the app is Calculate 84. I think all one word. Now, how do you type fractions in the calculator? Just fractions, just division, right? But like that 1/3. Okay, so press that y equals up in the top left. I'll give you a second to download the app in case you haven't. But you're going to want it. Calculate 84, I think it's all one word. But it mirrors really nicely mine that I have here. So that's cool.
How do we do that like that negative and like set it up for the?
Oh, I'll show you how to do that. Absolutely, yeah. Because you're right. We want to like build this table right away. That's kind of the idea of that XY table. So go to y equals, type in 1/3. Now the x is the button next to the alpha. The one that says like x, t, and it's got some other stuff. Now, if you want, right, this is what it looks like 1/3 x minus 2. You can always put fractions in parentheses if you're concerned that they're not going to be like read correctly, but you don't have to. But it's just extra. So that's the idea, 1/3 x minus 2. And then good question down. How do we make sure that everything's set up the way that we want to get to that table? Remember this. Here we go. So how to make the table? Well, first thing we have to go to is to that TBL set. All right, so second window. Let me share my screen. Home, check it out. Really, all we're going to do is class with you. And then you can submit that to Canvas. There we go. Okay, so second window. And then what you'll see once you get to TBL set is it's got a couple things that we want to make sure are right. We've got that, it says like table start. We want that to be set to -10, not -10. Don't use the subtraction button between the plus and the times on the left. Down there in the bottom row, next to the decimal, is that negative in parentheses. That means negative. Okay, table start, -10. And it should be already set up that your delta table. So, it says TBL start. TBL start. Should automatically be set to 1, and we can just keep going. So I'm going to change it to -10. Boom. And then, nice, then I just press actual table, right? So that's second graph. Second graph, gets us a table, things should start there. And I only want points that fit, but I also just want nice ones. right? Like, look at all of those. You see all those decimals, right? I don't want any of those. I don't need them because I can't plot them perfectly. I only want really, really, really nice numbers. And so, although like that first point fits, it's just not nice. But the second point at -9, -5, that one's a good one, right? Because I just want it to fit in my graph, but then I skip the decimal, -6, -4, skip the decimal, -3, -2, skip it. Oh, sorry, -3, -3, my bad. 0, -2, and then scroll down, just pressing the down arrow a bunch of times so I can get it to the positive side if you guys see what's going on over there. What's that?
3, -1.
Well, we also have like, yeah, because in between these are all decimals. Good, yeah, 3, -1.
How many do you put?
Any of the ones that fit on the graph.
Just keep going.
So however many there are between -10 and 10, right? Because if you look at your graph, your x's go -10 to 10, and your y's go -10 to 10. So I just want to fit the points that actually fit. So I'll actually go all the way to this one, and then stop right there. 6, 0 for sure, and then 9, 1. And that's what we're going to do first, right? Make that really nice XY table, calculate this all that work for us. I'm in love with this app, and I'm literally using it in every class now. So big shout out to whoever found that one. I think it was Paige, and I think it was Stone who had the idea for like looking for that, and then you found it. Awesome, love the partnership, love it. And now let's find the table for the inverse. So right next to it, so it's easy to copy over. What do I need?
-1 on the y.
Yeah, that's what we're going to say. Good thing. Little -1 up the top there, so we know it's the inverse. And how do we do it? Flip it. Nice. So all of your y's are now your x's. You guys get it. That's awesome. That's easy. All my x's are now my y's. And then go ahead. I'm going to get you some colors in case you want to use 2 different colors. But you've got straight edge, so you can draw, because they are straight lines. These ones are linear. You can also just take out a pen or color pencil if you have. If you don't have to, you can write them both in pencil. Okay. Ooh, piece of candy. Do the first 5 is the show. Like, oh my God, thank you. Still on. Yeah. And some nets. There, right on. You all good? Hold that. All right, I was almost there. Get home. All right, so pop those points. They should make a straight line if you're doing it correctly. So you want to connect it with that really, really nice straight edge.
So we connect both.
Yes, you're going to connect all, like these points in a straight line. Then you'll connect those points in a different straight line. Yep. Here, I'll go to the back and I will at least post the pictures of these. So you can make sure that your graph looks good. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Actually, this is the big picture. Put claps on my shirt. Stop sharing. Sweet. Then we'll find the inverse together. We'll actually do the work. I'm glad. Just so you can see it, I'm not going to follow my hand. Look. 1/3 x on side there, -2. And then eventually it's going to be inverse there, which will be x equals 1/3 y. Well, let's fix my window. And hopefully, yeah. This one can.
And then it flattened out.
So that one must be off a little bit.
It went off with a 3.
So, oh, 0 with -2. You put it at -1. Squeeze that up. 0, comma, -2. 0. Yeah, so put it. So you were right. Your intuition was right. Like something's wrong here, right? Because that point wasn't in that line. But it should be. So there it is. You're absolutely right.
Wouldn't just like go up like that.
It should be straight though. It should be. Yeah, so it should be. -5, -9. Oh. -3, -3. Yep, there you go. Yeah, so things are either going to be like connecting smoothly or they're going to go in a straight line. You don't have to worry. Cubic is the only weird one that has that kind of flex to it. Other than that, we're good. Don't forget to include that line of symmetry, that dotted line that goes top right, bottom left. I'll draw it in decimals here. Right? Different color. This line like this. That one should cut it right down. Right, top right, bottom left, that green line. Now I know, like I'm in a weird window because it's rectangular, but it's supposed to be a square. So that's why these boxes are a little stretched out. So yours might be a little steeper or a little flatter than that. That's okay. But you should always be able to turn it to line of symmetry is right up and down, and then boom, there it is. You see perfect symmetry on either side.
So which one do we mark this color?
You know, pick whichever one you want. It's just nice to have one function in one color and one in the other, so that when you like cross them or they're curved, you can tell which one. Not crucial, but pretty.
What is that?
So I'll give you a second to finish up the graph if you're still working through those, and then we'll do the algebra together. And then, I'd love to just like say, go ahead, try the rest, and then as you run into problems, we'll talk about them. Great.
No. Yeah, I put strap 10s and a KS on the computer. Custom golems to own golems.
Is it a first-person shooter or an RPG?
Yeah, it's the most realistic one I found out there so far. Escape from Tarkov.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like load into a map, go get loot, and you have to get to an extract before time runs out or you go missing in action.
Cool. Fun.
Pretty fun.
I used to have time for video games.
Yeah,
A lifetime ago.
I play COD every once in a while.
Yeah, right. The original, maybe. That's probably the last one I actually owned. No, it was Halo 3 in college. That's what it was.
I love Halo 3.
And then lots and lots of Rock Band on the baseball team. And then, of course, baseball games and Grand Theft Auto. But no time for that anymore. I'm still trying to finish The Last of Us.
I hate The Last of Us Part 2. They ruined it.
Not Part 2, first one. The remastered one. All right, let's do the algebra because that's all we have left, right? Make the tables, get your graph. So we set it up. How do we do it? How do we start? Okay. Before we do that, but that's exactly what my next step's going to be. I have to set it up. What's that? Not yet. So that's going to be at the end. I'll write it with the inverse notation for sure. But like all I did is I just rewrote the original function. There's a step that's nice to take first, so when you get to the end, you're done. Switch X and Y first every time. Then I like it, Jeff, and then we'll definitely add 2 first. So +2 on both sides. Right side will get simpler. Yeah.
You just go a little slower.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we start with the function, whatever it is. Now, the thing that we want to watch out for, remember, is that if it's already y equals, we're good to go to switch x and y. But if it's f of x or g of x or whatever, then we'll make the switch.
Oh, never mind.
So it starts as y equals, so we're good. So first thing we'll do, switch x and y. Because that's the inverse idea, right? Switch x and y. Now, oh, I should probably have written that as well. 1/3 y, there we go. Actually switch them would be good. Once we make the switch, now we just start solving for that. Now we always start solving by doing the opposite, right? And I think it's easiest to deal with any addition subtraction first. Everyone has the same good idea. We sell -2, so it's plus. Now, the nice side, the kind of part of this is like the right side is just going to get simpler, right? We just canceled those out. So we just kind of bring down whatever we haven't touched yet. But what does that left side look like if it's x plus 2?
Would it just be x plus 2?
X plus 2, exactly as you would say it out loud is how we're going to write it. Good.
Would it matter if you put 2 plus x?
Nope, that's fine. Because they're still connected with addition and you're still holding on to the correct signs. You just don't want to say like 2x because that would be multiplication, right? Because that's good. Addition, subtraction done. So now we're in this step of multiplication and division. And I picked this problem like for this on purpose with the 1/3. How is the 1/3 connected to the y right there? So what's the opposite of that?
Division.
And so that's fine. Like if you want to divide by 1/3, awesome, great, you can do it. But you might find something a little bit easier than this. So I'm actually going to come over here and I'm going to do a second version for those of us that, because now we're just done, right? There's y by itself. Some people don't like to have like fractions like within another fraction. It's actually called a complex fraction, and that can be kind of nasty to deal with. Instead of trying to divide by a fraction, let me see if I can have this make as much sense as possible by saying it right the first time. Yeah, sure, go ahead. Yeah. I want to see if this makes sense in your brain. So for a second, like just kind of detach yourself from this question for a second. But like 10, so different question, just think of it in kind of in your mind. What's 10 divided by 2? Be simple, yeah. Yeah, perfect. Now, 2 as a fraction looks like that, right? 2/1. And so, gosh, it's kind of nasty to write it like this, but we get the same result, right? 10 divided by a fraction 2/1. And so you've got like this, like, oh, gross, right? And it's fine, but it's just not nice. It doesn't look good. If there was a way to, instead of writing it as division, so I'm going to back it up to that old style, 10 divided by 2/1. Is there a way to change it so that I'm not dividing by a fraction anymore, but I still get an answer of 5? Is there something we can multiply by instead that gives us the same result? A decimal version. Nice. Now, but it can't still be 2, right? Because 10 times 2 is 20. So something I gotta, if I'm gonna change division and multiplication, I gotta do something to this number. Right? Because isn't 10 times like half? It's half of 10, right? It's 5. And so there's a process that you can do that if you want, it'll kind of avoid this nastiness. Instead of dividing by the fraction, you multiply by the flipped version of that, right? Take 2/1, flip it upside down, and it still makes sense. So instead of dividing by something, you can multiply by, you know the names, kind of a fancy math name for flipping a fraction? Nice. Oh. Multiply by the reciprocal. Boom, A+ for the day. So now this is fine. Like if you keep going, x plus 2 over 1/3 equals what? Like that's not wrong. it's just kind of nasty to look at. Whereas instead, don't divide by a fraction if you don't like it. You can instead, on both sides, multiply by the reciprocal. I can take this right side over here. I'm going to take all of this, I had a little more space, and multiply by 3. Divide by 1/3, multiply instead by the flipped version. Now, I'm not going to write 3 over 1. That seems silly. It's just the number 3. And do the same thing on the right. Now, you can write it side by side. You can write it right underneath. I don't care how you write it, one or the other. But it's all the number 3 over 1. 3 over 1. 3 over 1. 3 over 1. Pick whichever one you want. I like to do it without the fraction if I can. So I'm going to lose it. And I also like to do it like side by side rather than underneath, only for multiplication, because maybe I'll actually multiply. Either way, the 3 and the 1/3 are gone because they multiply to 1. And that's what's sitting in front of y. Right now, when I say y, I mean 1y. And the left side, you can either leave it like that, 3 times x plus 2. Or you can just multiply. But you can actually just multiply in the 3, I'm cool with that too, and call it 3x plus 6. All right? The 3 and multiply in. But I'm good with that one. I'm good with the one before that.
We just need the -1 by the y though.
I think we do, right? Because we finally got there, right? We got to y by itself. I don't have to worry about roots or anything with no exponent, so I'm done. I got y equals. Let's just use that inverse notation. So either put the -1 up in the exponent right here, right now, and call yourself done. Or come down here, put the y on the left. And again, you can write it with the parentheses, with the 3 and the x plus 2. I'm going to actually multiply it in outside on the parentheses. Why not? Pretty simple distribution. And we're good to go. And that's what you graphed. That was that other line that you graphed. I bet you that second line went through the y-axis. Yep. So for 3, right? Up 1, up 3. Up 1, up 3, right? Rise, over run. Rise, over run. Rise, over. See? So I just wanted to show you that. That's why I put that 1/3 in there. It doesn't come up often, but hey, instead of dividing by a fraction, multiply by the flipped version, and you don't have to deal with those nasty looking fractions. Sweet. Let's roll on. 6 next. Ooh, this is a good one. All right, cool. Let's do this. We're doing good on time. So we'll probably get 8 done, and you guys can just submit it. Y equals -3 parentheses. This has got a lot going on. X minus 1 squared plus 5. This blue is fading. I know the dark colors are really the only ones that show up nicely on. No, let's do this. All right, X, Y, all the way through the table because that's the easiest thing to begin with. So right back into the calculator. Here we go. Now, so if you did download that app, we always want to start by telling the calculator what function we're looking at. So we got to go back to y equals, but we got to get rid of what's already there. So go to y equals. Now, there's 2 options for getting rid of stuff. There's a delete button kind of next to the arrows on the top, and there's a clear button underneath it. Delete takes 1 letter or 1 number away at a time. So you'd have to like delete until everything disappears. Or you can just press clear and the whole thing goes. So I'm in y equals, that top left-hand button. I've cleared out that old whatever it was, the 1/3 x minus 2. And now I got to type in this new one. Again, don't forget so it's -3. So it's the button below the 3 for the negative, then the 3. Then parentheses, which is above the 8, open the parentheses, x minus, now it's the button next to the 6 for subtraction. And then squared, a couple different ways to write the squared. There's actually a button that says x squared. That would make the exponent of 2. Or you can press that up arrow looking thing above the division sign, that caret, they call it. And that just moves you up into the exponent. Now, here's the thing, though. You've got something after the exponent. And if you just keep typing, it's going to keep you up in the exponent, right? If you press like the up arrow, if you do this, -3 parentheses x minus 1, and you do like 2 to the power of 2, and you keep going like +5, it's going to keep the +5 up in the exponent. I don't want an exponent of 7. I want an exponent of 2, and I want a +5 after that. You have to right arrow yourself out of the exponent. Then you can do the +5.
So this is wrong?
So if that, no, that looks good. Because did you press the x squared button or did you press the?
You just did it by 7.
Or show me how you type it.
Oh my god. This,
Yeah. Minus. Yeah. It's because you hit the squared button, it knows that your exponent is done.
Oh, okay.
There's this button over here. That little up arrow kind of looking thing, that moves you up into the exponent, and you can type as much as you want. Because like, what if our exponent was a 3 or a 4 or a 10 or something? We don't have a button for that.
I don't see what the X is.
Okay, so it's actually this button right here that starts with an X but has some other letters after it. That's for a bunch of different kinds of variables, but it's always going to type it as an X. So that's good. But look, you see how the X is inside the parentheses?
Yeah.
Type the parentheses first.
Oh, parentheses first.
Yeah. I forgot the plus. Plus 5. Is it blurry for you, Justin? I don't know why. Maybe because I'm presenting and then my screen gets a heck of a lot.
Yeah, I can barely see it. It's just fuzzy.
Right. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people on the Wi-Fi will.
And then
I'll do my best. All right, Vic.
that's squared.
Yeah, exactly. Press
Like,
that.
I'm trying to figure out the number that you're trying to write. That's how blurry it is.
Yeah, I bet. So here, let me stop presenting because maybe that'll help, and I can move it closer. So you're only focused in on the part that matters.
And then do we just put enter?
So now we have it in my equal. Now let's make sure our table is set up. So second window. Make sure your first 2 numbers look like that. Yeah.
So if you put it up there, where's the arrow to get it down?
Is that right arrow? Yeah. Now you got a little negative. Right arrow. Yeah, you can see how you want to make a little line to a bigger one. Yeah. And now you know you're out of here.
I must have missed.
Great. That's the picture that we're going to look at. Yeah, for sure. You don't need that if you press that. Yeah. The thing you're going to see though is that that's the only exponent button we have. If I wanted to cube something right into the 4th power or the 5th power, you'd have to use that little up arrow. And that up arrow is so it does. That can work. Sure. Yeah. Because what that X squared button is put the 2 in the exponent, and then you can go back and change it to whatever you want for sure. Okay, cool. Let's get ourselves a table. Now I got to set up my table because I scrolled a little bit, so my table started at 0 again. So I reset it so it starts at -10. Oh my goodness, look at those big numbers. Skipping all those until I get to what, -1?
Mm-hmm.
-1, 7, 0, 2, 1, 5, 2, and 3 negatives.
You have a positive 7?
Oh, no, I did not. Negative. I did not. You're right. -7 looks good. And I'll make a table for the inverse, a little -1 up top, so we don't forget it. Make the switch. Now, the thing that we want to remember, if it's not a straight line, we can't use a straight edge to draw it out, right? So this one we're going to have to freehand a little bit as we connect them. But you want to connect them in this order. You want to connect these exactly in this order. Because I'll just kind of sketch it out a little bit so you can kind of see what it looks like. Gonna look that.
Okay.
Yeah. And extend it, throw some arrows. Extend it, throw some arrows. Just make sure you stay inside that next grid line. But when I draw this out, -7, -1, 2, 0, 5, 1, 2, 2, -7, 3, I gotta draw a little better. I want to connect them in that order. I'm actually going to share that point at 2, 2. So something kind of like that. And you got your axis of symmetry that will cut through that point right there and that point right there. I thought I was drawing this on the graph. It'll look a little bit better. Let's look at the work one. I equal -3x minus 1 squared 5. And then x equals, all I gotta do is switch x and line. X equals -3y minus 5. Voila. You get that cool heart shape. This one's a little skinnier because we got that -3. So look, vertex 1, 5. We're starting by factor 3. Flip this thing upside down. All that transformation stuff. All. So something like that's a little off, but it's just a sketch. Make sure you get a picture. There it is. I'd look back there if you're looking for something. A little weird though because of the rectangle. Put the square in a rectangle. So you can stretch it out. I'm going to make my y just a little bit bigger that way, bigger that way. So still a little bit more square, something like that. More of that. And then we knock out the algebra. I'm just going to rewrite it over here so we can see it happen. Already y equals, so that's good, so I don't have to worry about that. Switch x and y. This one's not going to work out super, super pretty. I'll have some fractions, there's some decimals, it's all here. This is what it is. But I want to make sure everybody's got a graph first, and then we'll do it all together. Never know. Just never know sometimes. Won't come out. Yeah, we'll Sure, shoot.
How do you use
Okay. So there's a couple ways to do it. The way that I like to is to use that up arrow. Maybe X one. So if I wanted to say like X cubed, just the up arrow. Just have to right here.
Everything lost like
To be like
70 million last night.
$70 million.
I just think kids for me to send me, I don't care what's the games because they're
Oh my God.
I get
Yeah.
2 million every
Sorry,
3
bad
hours.
night for me is like 10.
I get 2 million every 3 hours.
Ready? Ready to do the equation? All right, cool. So switch X and Y. So get yourself to here at least. You don't have to write my first line. You've got it sitting there at the top. You can just switch it right away. I'm cool with that. You don't have to rewrite it. I only do it so that it kind of juxtapose top and bottom so you can see the two, so you know what's going on. And don't forget, I got to pick something up from downstairs for you guys for tomorrow. So you guys can keep going at home. I made copies, but I forgot to go pick them up. So So we get to here, sweet, switch next line, now we can start solving. I'm just gonna put it up here just for reference, so we know what to do first. Write it if you like, but this is what I'm gonna do. -5, sounds good. -5 first, little -5 here, -5 there, those cancel. And however I would read it this way, I'm gonna write it that way. X -5. Addition and subtraction. Yeah, and keeping track of that sign in front of that 3 is a big part of that, I think, which is good. Oh, like I can't just divide by 3, I gotta divide by the number that's being multiplied, and that number is negative. I like just one big fraction. I don't have to worry about simplifying. I just write it and I'm good. I'm done. This way, whatever, wherever the negatives are, they just stay there. Oh, this one's on the bottom. Cool. I'll just leave it down there. And you'll see, like, depending on what class you take next year, we'll expand on like how to write it as best as you can and working on different kind of things. If you take like a college algebra kind of thing.
Well, that gets rid of the parentheses on the y.
Doesn't get rid of the parentheses. It just gets rid of the -3 in front because the power of 2 is still there because we haven't gotten up that level yet. But we are there now. The parentheses goes away when there's nothing on the outside attached. So the -3 was a good thing to get rid of first. Now we can get rid of that exponent. What's the opposite of square root? Square root. Cool. So I'm going to square root both sides. Again, you can like write a whole extra step of work here, but I'm just going to drop it right on top as I go. Square and square root cancel each other out. Now the parentheses are gone. Now I just need something in front of that square root because it's an even root. Plus or minus. Plus or minus. Plus or minus, yeah. So plus or minus. Now, the reason why that's so important, there's actually 2 graphs here. There's the top one, that's the positive square root, there's that piece, and then the bottom half, that's the negative. So when we write plus or minus, we're actually writing both the top half and the bottom half of that side of the graph. Cool. Exponents and roots done. Gets us into the grouping that was there, right? Got us into the parentheses. Now we can do something about it. Now we go back to the beginning, this little plus one. Yeah, +1, little +1. So y by itself finally, so that's good. That's kind of the goal. I'm going to put the nice stuff first. A +1, then the plus or minus, the nastiness at the end. You are totally fine to switch that and go plus or minus the square root of all that and then a +1 after. But I am absolutely going to make sure that I put the little -1 up top. And I like to take the step of rewriting it with the y on the left, everything else on the right. You don't have to. You could just do this. Once you get y by itself, just pull a little -1 up there. That's cool. You guys finish that up. I'm going to go get those copies for tomorrow. You don't have the printing at home. And folks at home, you just get it from me. Second left.
I was playing the level 7 last night. I heard something. I walked down there. It's really cool. I put a whole magazine on N855 A1 into his chest and he did die. Go like this. Turn around. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, we did. We had freaking a gazelle. I zeroed as a gazelle. And then I went like this. I turn around so it eats my freaking trooper. Put my head down. Reload my freaking MDR. Turn on. Could have finally killed him, but he ended up dying. He was running 300 blackout, which is like leg limit. I don't know why I didn't lift my legs. And then a few raids later, after I get out of that, I go on towards Dolan. And he runs these full-on chads, and he must have had either a hex grid on or something. And all of a sudden, I put a whole 60 rounder in the first guy. Reloaded. When I reloaded, my 60 rounder went into my gamma container. No, he didn't even flinch. Literally. He literally just turns to me, goes like this, switches to his knife, just hits me on the head. There. That's it.
I knew, I was like.
Like, he didn't walk away.
See ya. Here's tomorrow. So. Now you can finish up number 7 and 8. 7 was from Friday. If you didn't get a chance to do that on Friday. This is just. You're welcome. This is 3 points. Just more practice. Want to give you a chance to try something out on your own. But yeah, how are we feeling?
Still a little hard.
So, I think
Hold
hold on to it for now. We still have 8 minutes.
I got the table part down, but getting the other part is a little bit confusing.
Okay.
We'll get there.
No problem.
Like tables, that's easy. It's
Yep.
just a calculator.
Yep.
Then like solving it out.
Okay.
I'm just a little confused on like what to do at the very beginning. Because like if you can have a cube, you can have a square
Yeah.
or nothing.
I know. You could be looking at any kind of function. It's not. Yeah, like last chapter was like always squared, always squared. Now it's yeah. And so that's where like this kind of how to on the right, I think, comes in for me to keep me feeling like, okay, all right, what do I do first? And what do I do? That's like just kind of having a plan, no matter what the equation looks like. It's really just like once you get to here, how am I actually going to solve for? Well, it depends on what it looks like. Well, any of this is a fraction first, then any multiplication and division, then any exponents. Just kind of
Well,
work.
it's not like that. It's like when you get to this part,
Okay.
when you this,
Yeah.
instead of like bringing this down as itself, I tried to solve it.
Try doing a bunch of stuff. Yeah. So that's the thing with inverses. Don't try putting a bunch of stuff together. Just like let the numbers move from the right to the left. And don't try to simplify that left side necessarily. Just like let it get complicated. Let the complication, the nastiness from the right side shift to the left as we try to get y by itself. Yeah. So I'll give you today, and if you need it, tomorrow to get the rest of 3.1 done. So we have a couple of minutes here. You can do this. Yeah, let's finish the back. Yeah, I'm gonna let you do that on your own, but I'm gonna change the due date for 3.1 to be tomorrow instead of today. But I'm happy to do like 7 was Friday's work. I'm happy to do 7 or 8. Let's see. I mean, they're both like 7's tricky just because of the cube thing. So I cannot stress enough. You have a graphing calculator now. Press graph and watch it like connect the points for you, and then that'll help you actually connect the graph. Yeah, Gavin. Probably not till next week. Yeah, depends on how much practice I think you need. I was trying to either like get it done this week or next week. I just want it done before spring break. And I would love to get to like spring break at a nice like stopping point rather than like being in the middle of something and having to come pick it up. Like when we went on winter break for 2 weeks and we had to start quadratics again, I needed to like restart the whole thing in order for us to be able to do things well. And I hated that that was the situation we found ourselves in. So I'm gonna try to like take these next 2 weeks kind of slow. And then like let's say like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of this week, start doing some stuff really on our own, like those effort and completion kind of quizzes. Maybe kind of getting us maybe like more like Monday, Tuesday, and then doing something for a grade Wednesday, Thursday, and then just saying, hey, you know what, Friday, enjoy the day off, start your spring break a day early for me. So I just want like lots of practice first, though. I want you guys to do it on your own and ask questions about what you're struggling with, because some people are like, oh, the tables are so hard. How do I connect the graphs really well? How do I do the algebra?
Yeah.
So I want to kind of help everybody individually over the next week, and then we can do it for real. But it shouldn't be. So it might be just a negative somewhere. Because like the cubes, yeah, like that for sure. So it's gonna have that little bend to it. So I think you grasped your function well. That's good.
Yeah, just the inverse part.
So let's see. think you made the switches correctly. Let's make sure the points are here. So -7, -4. Oh, 0, -3. You did -3. Yeah, you did switch up.
Yeah, I can do the graph part, but
Sweet.
like starting this is tough.
Okay. Just make sure that when you graph, remember those cubics have that like
Like, really
that
just look at what
bend
it's
to
supposed to look like.
Yeah, and there it is. So you just have to make sure that your graph looks like that when you're done. So when you plot all your points, when you connect, remember, I don't know if you remember those 3 that looked like they were in a straight line last week, but we had that bend. Yeah, yep. So for you, like your first step, I think, in the space like below, or I guess to the right, wherever you want to do some work, is to rewrite exactly what I gave you, but switch X and Y. Yep. 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 Perfect. Now start solving for Y. See, good.
Thanks.
Yep. So if you guys are done, when you're done with classwork 3.1, put it up there. Take those pictures now, this way you don't have to worry about it tomorrow. Huh? No, it's probably worth 10 because we've been working on it for a few days. Yeah. So yeah, let me change. We've been working on it for a while, so I'm gonna like I said, I got distracted. I'm gonna change the due date till tomorrow, so that you have tomorrow to start it. 3.1. Yeah. Yeah. 3.1, the stuff we're working on right now, I will make that due tomorrow, but we'll make it out of 10. I think that's more indicative of how hard we've been working on it, which is awesome. You guys have been great. And then we'll start 3.2, but it'll take us a couple days to work through that. And then we'll do like a quiz A for correction, or for okay, so nothing to worry about multiplication because there's nothing to be multiplied. So now we've got the exponent. All right, we're at that spot like here in black. We're like, oh, I had a power of 2, so I got to undo that. So I got to do a root of 2, right? I had a square, so I can do a square root. Well, now your exponent isn't 2, it's 3. And every power has its root. A square had a square root. Cube has a cube root. And so the step that you're kind of at right now, let me just do it right here. What is it, x? What's on your left side right now?
X equal, X
minus
minus
1,
1, yeah. Y plus 2.
Cubed. So the step that you're at right now is to take the root of both sides. Oops, sorry. Root of both sides, but we just want to make sure that it's a cube root. You put that little 3 in that spot, that little nook for the root.
Wouldn't that cancel out on the other side?
Exactly. So the root, yeah. So that 3 and that 3 cancel each other out. So we just have y plus 2. That's always what's going to happen. If you have an exponent trying to do that, use the root, and they're gone. And it's just the cube root of x minus 1. If you're looking for it, it's in the math folder. Option 4, I think, is a cube root. So if you press, in case you wanted to type it in, there's a math folder right there. Option 4. There's your cube root. If you ever want to go back to main screen, it's quick.
You don't have to do anything with this. I don't have to solve that.
No, it's just the cube root of x minus 1, and then minus 2, minus 2. Now, we only need the plus and minus for even roots, so it's just that cube root. We're good. There should be, where's my little bin?
Would you just add
Put it in the empty one here, right by the paper.
Would you just add the minus to this?
No, because one's trapped underneath. Then you see one's trapped under the root, the other one's not, so we can't put them together.
So it wouldn't be.
So you trying to simplify by putting stuff together is not working, right? You don't have to. Just like we did here, and I just put like the 1 up front and did a little whatever, put the root after that. I like it here too. Minus 2 plus the cube root of x minus 2.
How do you know if it's plus or minus after the negative 2?
Is there a negative sign in front of this? So it must be positive. Oh, right? Like, is that number positive or negative? It's positive. Same thing with root. What's up?
I was just wondering about that.
So that's
Next Saturday. I'm moving.
right.
So I was
Are you enrolling in a different school?
probably,
Okay.
once I get there, it's in Delta Boys,
Okay.
about 11 hours.
Okay.
I'm gonna choose the 2 schools.
Okay.
Right now. so I'll probably still attend classes, we'll just be pulling them.
Okay.
So register our system.
Okay, so let me know if they, because I know sometimes when students move, they will just like transfer your grades over to the next school and just kind of pick up where you left off, which means I want to get a grade in for this one for you if it's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Um,
You probably won't have to get it in by the 13th, because I'll probably have like a couple of days.
I might just get it done anyway, because I'll like if we take the tests like Wednesday, Thursday, or the quiz or whatever we call it, Wednesday, Thursday, yeah, you guys will have the day off on Friday. I'll just grade them that day and put them in. So, but let me know either way, because if you do need me to put something in, I'm happy to get it graded ahead of time.
This
But-
weekend, I'm gonna try and get in as many missing assignments as I can.
Good
I know I
idea.
said I would get them, but
Okay.
Chem and stuff has been kicking my ass.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Chem does that, that's for sure.
so, you should see some this weekend.
Okay,
Couple missing.
awesome, sounds good. Thanks, Gavin.
I sprayed these,
Okay,
I don't know if that's helpful to you.
yes, yeah, because now I can give them to this crew right here, as they would be super.
When I told them what they were doing, they literally cheered.
Right, so fun.
Like,
Oh,
did you laugh
it
for
was
this?
so
Really?
fun.
I was like, okay, yeah.
I know. That's what and that's what I thought of last night when I'm trying to like, should we do a research thing? Should we do should they do their own thing? And I didn't know what I wanted to do.
A little bit, this is interesting, but then they were like, and then we're gonna draw the